Welcome everyone to the first episode of the Retro Pool Guy podcast. I'm your host, the Retro Pool Guy, and I'm joined here by my co-host slash producer and all-around technical guru. He is the Drunken Beard, Nick. How you doing, Nick?
Living the dream. Thanks for bringing me on.
Living the dream. Hey man, thanks for being here, dude. So in this first episode, we're going to talk about Uniracers for the Super Nintendo. But first, I promised everyone who follows us on Twitter that I would have a surprise special guest for you all. Now, if you're a fan of the Retro Game Guys podcast like I am, then this is someone you're really going to appreciate. So folks, without further ado, I give you Sega Master Tim. Hello, Tim. How you doing?
Hello, but who's the special guest?
Well, that would be you, sir.
Me. For someone else. Okay. Hello.
Yes, sir. Thank you for joining us, man.
Yes, how are we all?
Oh, we're doing good.
That's good. Pleasure to be here, and honored to be on your very first episode, and yes. No worries, mate. You'll be fine.
Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it.
You'll be fine. Every episode is a lesson for everyone.
Well, hopefully we'll learn a lot of lessons today. Huh?
Oh, I'm sure we will.
Yes.
All right. So now, some of you know from Retro Game Guys, but for the people who don't know who you are, haven't listened to that show where you gave that great interview, why don't you tell us a little bit about your story and why we all call you Sega Master Tim?
Okay, well, the reason of my name was my title when I worked for Sega. Yes, I worked for Sega between 1990 to 95. And my job was a games counselor. So you'll always hear about Nintendo having games counselors. Well, Sega had them as well. And if you didn't already pick up, I am an Australian. So I work for Sega down here in Australia. And so my job was to play games, crack them, and help children. And as I always add on to the end of that, lonely housewives. So,
Someone has to.
Well, someone has to. Yes. So, so that was our job. It was my first job. I always say I peaked too early. And I was about, I reckon I was 20. I think I was 20 when I got the job. Yeah. Quite. I mean, it was an amazing job to get for at first.
And that was your first job, so you never had to work like fast food or retail. You just moved right into Sega.
Yeah, not before that. No, afterwards I did have to do retail and all that. And in a weird way, I am still, but we can talk about that later. But first job I ever had, and the first time I moved out of home as well, because Sega in Australia was based in Sydney, and I grew up in a small country town in Victoria. So Sydney's in New South Wales. Victoria is obviously a different state. So in comparison, and I don't know how you work this out in miles, but where I lived, it was about an 800k drive. So a good 8-10 hour drive to get from one place to the other. Yeah. So I never lived out of home. Never had a job. I had no idea what to do. But somehow I swam and got to the other end.
What kind of process was it to actually land that job with Sega? Just showed up.
My process was just sheer and utter determination. They might say that it was through being annoying, because when I found out about the hotline, I just bugged them. I kept on ringing up, wanting to know how I could get a job. And I always say that I think they just gave up. I just said, "Oh God, let's just give him an interview and shut him up." And I went up there. I didn't know what I was doing. I'd never done a job interview before. Never worked before. So, yeah. And they asked me a few questions, and there was this thing back in the day where they always put in a key question like, what makes you worthy of this job? What makes you different than everyone else? Complete bunch of wank, really.
Mhm.
And I said, well, I've got something. And the preface to this is that prior to getting to applying for this job, I had been in touch with a young lady that worked for Sega of America. We were pen pals because I was such a big fan of them back in 1987 that I reached out to Sega of America by pen and paper. This is before the internet, and got in touch with this woman by the name of Judy. And so we shared, letters to each other, sent little things through the post. But one day she sent through this box. I had no idea. She didn't give me any warning of it. What I found out was that it was full of walkthroughs, cheats for games that had been released, games yet to be released, and games that had not even been mentioned anywhere. So I had all this information, but I didn't know what to do
Wow.
with it. Yeah. So when they asked me the question, what can what makes you so special? And I slid across this bit of paper, have a read. And I think it was for Gabelius. I think it was for that game. And they go, this is a walkthrough. It's got cheats. Where'd you get this? I said, well. So I explained the story. And they go, oh, that's amazing. Have you got any more? Well, yes, I do. Oh, can we have them? Depends. So, yeah. And a few days later, went back down home, and they gave me a call, asked when I could start, and the rest is history. Yeah, so it was just by sheer, utter, bloody-minded determination to get the job. I had no other skills. Awesome. I didn't finish high school because I had a lot of health problems, and being in a small town, it wasn't a case of what you knew, but who you knew. So there wasn't much hope for me. And I mean, the two main industries were either working at a prison or working at a mental asylum. And I don't know, it wasn't what I was really looking for a future.
Sega sounds like a much better option.
Yeah, playing video games for a living wasn't bad at all. So, yeah, and here I am now talking to you about what I used to do many moons ago.
So they would call, you would get calls from kids playing games, and then your job is basically just help them out. Do you have any calls that really stick out that you still remember?
Oh, well, the things that really stick out were, and like, there's not only me that worked that were one of the main Sega Masters there. There's me. There's a colleague, Brian, better known as Sid Spaceys, and they were twin brothers. Another Tim and Nick, and the one call that would always stand out in our mind would be Alex Kidd in Miracle World. And when we say stand out, it's more like a bad memory. Because we got so many bloody calls for that game. And they'd all call up about, oh, look, I'm stuck in a room. And we just say, right, you got a pen, you got a paper. What? How do you know? You're at the end of the game and you don't know what to do. There's all these songs. Oh, how'd you know? Every bloody call. So, all right, got a pen, paper? Right, write this down. Sun, wave, moon, star, sun, moon, waves, fish, starfish. Walk over the tiles on the floor. In that order, you'll complete the game. Goodbye. And it was just about every third or fourth call. I'm stuck in a room. Oh, kill me. Yeah. So
And you still have nightmares about that exact part of the level every time?
Oh yeah. Well, look, I can recite the sequence. Jesus, and it's been 30 bloody years. Crying out loud. I reckon on my tombstone it'll just have some wave moon star, some moon wave fish starfish on. Oh, kill me. Anyway, yeah. So that was the game that sticks out the most. And a lot of people are surprised that it wasn't Sonic. Yeah, Sonic had a big time in the sun when Sonic 1, 2, and 3 came out. But there was always this constant in the background, which was Miracle World, because the game got built into the Master System too. So everybody bought the Master System, ended up with that bloody game. They wanted help with the game. So, yes. It's it's a horror story, really.
Yeah, that game was quite the experience when we played along with it with the retro game guys. That was my first time playing that game. And
Yeah.
I didn't even get that far. Just found it really difficult.
Oh, neither did I. Oh no, I did it once. But it's such a pain in the backside.
It's squirrely.
And
it's squirrely. The controls are just squirrely.
It's brutal. And then if you didn't know the sequences in the Jenkin matches, it's such a brutal, unfair game. Really.
Yeah.
So, hats off to anyone that have been able to get to the end and complete it without any help at all. I mean, hats off to them. You know,
that's beating
awesome.
itself right there.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Tim, for sharing that with us. I really
That's all
appreciate
right.
it. So how about we jump into some Uniracers, huh, guys?
Sounds good. Okay.
All right, man. Uniracers is a 2D stunt racing game for the Super Nintendo, released in December of 1994, developed by DMA Design, which is now known as Rockstar North Limited out of Great Britain. So I guess they got sold back in the day, maybe after they got sued. Not sure on the timeline there, but we'll get into that sued and lawsuit thing here in a minute. Uniracers was part of Nintendo's Play It Loud campaign. That's where they switched marketing tactics to target teenage boys. That was around 1994, 95 after Sega was running those much edgier ads.
Yep.
I guess we could say everybody remembers those. I'm sure, Tim, you definitely remember those ads.
Burned into my mind like a final walkover sequence for Alex Kidd in Miracle World.
Yeah. So Nintendo took the same approach, and they grouped a bunch of games together in this marketing campaign. They called it the Play It Loud campaign, where they took things more edgy. And I posted a commercial for Uniracers that came out back in 1994, and man, it captures everything that is edgy about the 90s in 30 seconds. It's you got rebellious teenagers and just the guitar riffs, but it's strange, it got people doing stunts on bicycles instead of Uniracers in the commercial. So I guess maybe couldn't find anybody to ride a Uniracer.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I don't think too many unicycles were available at the stores at that time or now.
Or even if they were, probably with teens, it would have been a bit dorky to be getting around on one. I think mountain bikes were more the thing back then. Yeah, so yeah.
Mountain bikes and rollerblades, right?
Rollerblade. Some dork on a freaking unicycle, mate.
Yes. Okay. really funny. Just imagine, you see kids, they ride their bikes to school, they ride their skateboards sometimes, and then here comes this kid on a unicycle. Just hey
Oh,
guys.
I'm a bit different. I want to be accepted. You could make a really bad American B class film out of it, couldn't you? The kid that was picked on that was riding on a unicycle. But he wins the day by winning a mountain bike tournament. Yeah, you're the best.
Oh, that's good. Funny. Okay. So, the game didn't get past its initial release. There was only 300,000 copies released, and that was because of Pixar. They got one look at that unicycle, and they sued them. They allegedly for copying their 1984 film called Red's Dream. I've never heard of that movie ever in my life until I looked this up. I've never heard of Red's Dream. I've seen the lamp for Pixar, but a unicycle, didn't know. No idea until I heard about this lawsuit. So yeah, so Pixar sued them because of that film. They had a unicycle in it apparently, and Uniracers has unicycles in it that act lifelike, similar to what's in the movie. And I guess the judge agreed with Pixar, and they were forced to shut it down. So there was no more copies released after that. After that initial run. So we got 300,000 copies of Uniracers.
Okay.
So, do you guys think this would happen now in this time? I mean, it's a unicycle. How different could it be? Could they have made it?
I believe there's enough law at this point to probably not be fully done. But I believe the reason why, or fully sued, was I believe it was because of the character design of the movement of the actual character, which side by side, looking at the video plus looking at the gameplay itself, you can kind of see where they maybe got a little bit too much inspiration.
Yes.
For that design.
I don't think it would happen because game developers would be too freaking scared. If they knew that it had any similarity to anything, and I'm sure they would have had a research team to make sure that they didn't. These are what these companies are like these days because they want to make money from their games, and so they're going to do everything to avoid from any form of litigation. So I don't think it would happen these days. They're just too damn scared. I mean, all they have to do is look at this case. Ridiculous as it sounds, they would make sure that it didn't have the same actions and it looks somewhat different to what you had. So,
or it would be some sort of cross licensing thing, if anything nowadays, just because games are just so big, right? So
that's right. That's right.
Pay the money for that unicycle that no one's seen.
Yeah, but no one's ever ridden. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting.
I still have yet to see Red's Dream, and I don't think I will. Not interested.
I have seen it. It was one of those rudimentary CG tech demos for back in the day. There was about 4 or 5 minutes long to kind of demonstrate what the company could do for other companies, kind of thing.
Similar to the lamp, right? Like the whole
very similar to the lamp or any of their other shorts. To me,
Pixar is the lamp. I don't think Uniracer when I think Pixar. I think lamp and Toy Story. Not
right, but lamp and Toy Story is from 95, right, or 94 or something like that is when I believe that kind of logo design. This was 87, and it's technically very, very good looking for the year. So I can see where maybe this was like a hot kind of look for it. CG, this is new. It's 87. Video probably was released in like a theater or on TV at some point to show, and that's how they seen it. So I don't know what the legal bar to reach over for copy and animation was for that. Obviously that's up to that judge that apparently agreed that it looks identical, and not just looks identical, the movements are identical. So
yeah, but Pixar weren't going to lose any profits, were they? I mean,
no,
really, they're not going to
no,
lose anything. And this company, if they did make any money, would have been basically pocket change to Pixar in a day. So it's just bullshit. Half this taking
I
people
would
to
have to
court
agree
for
there, Tim.
yeah, it's
I
just
would
rubbish.
agree. I mean,
Yeah,
it's just I guess they couldn't find a way to get money on it out of it, so they shut it down. Is the way I see it. You know.
pretty crap either way.
yeah, not a good look, that's for sure. For that kind of thing. Going back to DMA, they were actually bought out by a British publisher, Gremlin Interactive, for £4.2 million back in 1997. And then it looks like Infogrames acquired them for another £24 million. Then the publisher BMG was acquired by Take-Two Interactive.
That's small. That's small compared to today, you know. And even when they've acquired them, they would have fired half the people there. You know, only would have kept some of the staff for their skills. But I mean, really, God.
Yeah, I guess they lost a few of their key management when Take-Two took over. As you do, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So we all got a chance to play the game. So how do you guys feel about the look of the game? Does it still hold up today? Do the graphics still hold up today, or is it dated? What do you think of that, Tim?
I hate it because it's Nintendo. There.
And it makes fun of Sega.
Stand on my Sega precipice.
That's right.
No, actually, when I first looked at it, I wasn't too sure, but as I started playing more of the game, I actually did enjoy the animation, the look of it, the colors. That's all right, but I think there was I had one little bugbear about this game when it comes to the animations and graphics and that. It's that damn arrow. That bloody arrow that's on the select menu. And it's bobbing up and down and all that. Yeah. Now, it sort of reminds me when a high school student discovers PowerPoint presentations and puts in too many explosions and things moving around and different transitions of fonts and all that. It's a wank. It doesn't need to be it just seemed they didn't need to do it, really. I know you can do great 3D animations with your tech at that time. It was just a little bit of overboard. It wasn't necessary. Just
I think this game was really trying to capture the edginess of the 90s, you know? So, a bobbing arrow is way more edgier than a straight arrow that's, just stationary. So maybe that was their approach there.
It's not edgy, it's just pointless. Which is quite ironic because it's an arrow, which is supposed to
it's an
point.
edgy arrow. It's bouncing. Look at it bounce. It's so edgy.
The same takeaway. I had the same takeaway with the menu system. It was just, it's all so busy and cheesy all at the exact same time. Backgrounds moving, the arrows are moving, the fonts are the only thing that's kind of static, but they're all like blurred out a little bit. It's just all so much.
Yeah, I mean, they were trying to make the most of it, to show what the tech could do at the time, but it was just I don't know, not refined. I think that's the best way to put it. They didn't refine it in a way. It's just a stupid arrow. Anyway, but that's my only bugbear for now.
I think my biggest challenge really with the entire game was when you're picking up speed, and probably just a technical challenge for it. Nowadays that camera would move out further so you could see more of the track as you're moving faster, so you can react. So losing track of where the track is because you're moving so fast, unless you've just memorized everything, you're kind of just which way do I have to go now? I just landed.
You can literally just about shoot off the screen.
Yeah,
going fast enough.
And you're like, oh, does it go back the other way now? I don't know.
I actually didn't mind that. I didn't mind that I couldn't see where the hell my bike was. It's like, okay, now I've got to sort of I'll just keep on holding right and see what the hell happens here. I didn't mind it. I didn't mind it too much. It was okay. But that once again was a limitation with what it could do. Yeah, I'm just surprised it could remember where it was off the screen. Yeah, it was true when it came back. It didn't go. Yeah, it knew where it was supposed to come back and that. So yeah, that's all right. That's all right. Limitations make the better of us.
Right. So, how did you guys feel about the music with this game? Now, personally, me, I love the music in this game. I'm a 90s kid. I'm into guitar riffs and metal type music. So this stuff was like right up my alley. Like right from the get. I know the menu is cheesy. I will definitely give you guys that. The font is kind of ridiculous, but the music is great. To me, it's supreme. 90s, perfect for this type of game. Anyway, so tell me, Tim, what did you think of the music? How did you feel about it?
Okay, well, if I was thinking of me back in my early 20s, I would have said it was amazing. It would have been. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I look back at it now and I'm like, a little bit of cringe, a little bit of cringe. But look, I'm a retro gamer at heart. Yeah, it's good. I've heard better, to be honest. I have heard better tunes out there, but I think it complements the theme well. Being a unicycle in the 90s. That's about it.
Yeah, I'm kind of. It's not bad. I enjoy it while I'm playing it, but it's not memorable, kind of.
Yeah,
for me, it's a good background sound. It's fine for it. It's good for fast paced. It's got that drum and kind of rock speed kind of thing going for it. But now if you're like, what was that soundtrack? What did that sound like? I don't know. I have to go back and listen to it again.
yeah. I have to say though that like music is supposed to, when you're playing video games, it's supposed to set a mood. It's supposed to give an emotion to you. Whether you're playing an RPG or a platformer or God knows what. I don't know. I didn't get that mood. That like if I'm playing, like there's a few stages where you've got it's basically a drag race at the end of the day. I just didn't get that sense of urgency from the music. Urgency more came from what I saw on the screen. I thought that maybe, and I know I'm just picking, splitting hairs here and all that. I think they could have they missed a few points there to set the mood better with the music, to set that emotion right, But I don't know. I don't produce games.
Yeah.
Or music.
I mean, going back to like the memorable music in a lot of games, it's thinking about limitations and just where things were really important for remembering something. It's like a melody, and it's like that key melody that repeats. That's why, you know, NES games or any 8-bit game, really the ones that stick out have that nice chord that goes through. You have like the DuckTales Moon level and you know, Zelda, all those you can Outrun,
and Super Hang On.
Yep.
Not every song is perfect, but you get to choose a song.
Yep.
There are certain songs that when you choose it, it sets you in that mood to play that game at its fullest.
Yep.
You know, so yeah, I wasn't expecting this to be any sort of Outrun type game.
Right, yeah.
It's not Outrun, that's for sure. So.
Well, maybe it's just my taste, but
Okay.
I really enjoyed the music in this game.
I think it is.
Yeah, it's gotta be. So maybe I just like the heavier stuff a little more. I don't know, but I had the opposite effect when I was playing the game. The music got me into it.
Okay.
I don't.
Okay.
You know, maybe it's just because I'm a fan of it. Played it when I was a kid, so you know.
That nostalgia factor, the memory
A lot of
berries.
nostalgia factor there. A lot of nostalgia.
Yeah, that could have been the case. Yes.
Or I'm just crazy. You know. All right. So there was actually one unused track for this game. That I got to give credit where credit is due here. At Fractured Future on Twitter, or the Fractured Divide, he is the one who pointed out to me that there's actually 2 unused tracks for this game. So we can pull that up and have a little listen here. So yeah, that's the unused, one of the unused tracks. The other unused track sounds more like something you would hear on one of the menus, or you know, something like that one. Though is more what you probably would have heard on one of the tracks.
Seems very loud. Seems
Well,
a lot's
was
going
play
on
it loud.
there. Yeah. I get it. I get that it's supposed to be metal. This song seems like there's way too much going on. It feels like it.
It's like a cross between synth metal or something going.
Yes, yes. That's the best description. Yeah, synth metal. Yeah. It's all right. Yeah. There must have. Did they give a reason why they didn't add it on, or?
No, I never found a reason why.
It's not bad. It's just it's all right. Again, it's in a similar vein as I think the rest of the kind of music, where it, as playing through the game, it fits while I'm playing. It feels, but
yeah,
not something Nick is gonna play in his car when he's cruising to work or something.
Yeah, not any, you know, DuckTales Moon music by any means.
Well, the nostalgia gets me on this one because I don't know, I loved it as a kid. I love the music. So what can I say? I'm a big fan of it. All right. So, how did you guys feel about the gameplay? How did you guys do when you played along? We had some listeners play along with us. We're gonna check out their scores here. The plan was to just get a best time on Zoom Zoo, which is one of the first races there, and then just get your best score on bowl, which is basically just like a half pipe type course. So did you guys do with that?
I gave it a good college try for several hours on bowl for sure, and I could not really pass like 200 and something points. And I felt very defeated looking at the 500 or whatever from
Yeah,
from one of our. I
we'll get
was
into that
I
here in just a
got a
minute.
little crushed. So yeah, I just decided to go play some races instead after a couple hours of looking up old GameFAQ text documents off the forums and trying to learn everything. But man, there's just no way.
Mm.
And how did you get a time on Zoom Zoo?
Not that I remember recording. I went through and played a bunch of the levels. But again, there's no way I was going to beat these guys that have, I swear, made a second job of trying to.
How about you, Tim? How did you do on yours?
What do you mean, second job, first job?
Yeah.
Hang on, I'm just having a look here. So I think off the top of my head, I got about 150 on that half pipe thing. I haven't actually looked at other people's scores of that, and now that you've said that somebody's had like 500, I mean, God, is it the only game in their collection?
We're gonna get into him in just a second. Yeah, we'll get into him in just a minute.
Yeah, so about about 120. That's all I could achieve. I reckon if I had more time, I might be able to get over 200. But the only thing I was really doing was that twist, the twist
Yeah.
in the air, and just trying to get as many
It's a
points from
tricky
that.
game. Sometimes the best way to figure this one out is just to mash buttons and hope you land on the wheel.
Trust me, I started off at that, and that's why I sent you that message. Are there any other moves than twist? and I'm getting nowhere with this one. But I'm just bringing up the game now. Bear with me. Which race was it?
Zoom Zoo is under the first one there, I believe.
Zoo. Okay. Oh God, I got that music. Yeah. Okay. Great. Yes.
Well,
So
one thing to get over that
controllers.
200, looking through how the point structure worked. Apparently, yeah, if you do multiple tricks in a row, you get less and less points and stuff like that. So
That's right. You can't spam the same trick over and over. So
I don't think I'm ever going to find out because I'm trying. I'm trying to get my bloody controller to work, and I've got noise. And let's just not worry about that. I have no idea.
Yeah,
But I
that's
thought it was
all right.
give me some times. Give me some times that would give it out there, and I'll tell you if I was
Here's
close.
mine right here. On Zoom Zoo, I got 1 minute 16 seconds and 0.65, so 1:16.65 on Zoom Zoo, and then my score on Bowl was 276. Okay, now I have 3 listener scores right here that I got from a few of our friends on Twitter. Okay,
Right.
so let me run through these real quick. All right, we have Fractured Fuser, our at Fractured Divide. He got a 114.97 on Zoom Zoo, okay, and a 315 on Bowl. So they blew us out of the water easily. All right.
Oh yeah, I know. I just could not even. As soon as I saw just some of the attempts, I'm like,
Yeah,
not happening.
Here's Mega Retro Man, or at Mega Retro Man. He got a 353 on Bowl, okay, and then a 1 minute 15.92 seconds on Zoom Zoo, okay. But now, I did not see this coming, okay, when I planned this whole podcast, and I was like, yeah, man, Uniracers, my favorite game, from back in the day. This is going to be great. This will be great competition. No. Mr. Hector Fly Rodriguez. This guy is apparently somewhat of a celebrity in the world of speed runs and world records.
Okay.
So he scored a 531 on bowl. Okay. A 531. That's out of this world.
Right.
Nobody came close to that. Okay. And then on Zoom Zoo, all right, he got 1 minute, 12.72 seconds, setting a new world record officially on speedrun.com. So unless you were going to break the world record, none of us stood a chance this time around.
Okay. I'm pretty sure that after that minute, I had a 20. I think there was a 20 something.
Yeah.
Nowhere near. Oh, Jesus. Really? Yeah.
So yeah,
I don't think it's
Hector
his second
Fly
job.
Rodriguez,
It's
or
his.
at
It's his.
Fly
He
Heck.
doesn't have a job.
This guy is a genius. He actually, you guys will have to look him up. He came up with a rolling technique on controllers that nobody had used before. He's got world records on track and field. He's got world records on this game, just countless world records on Uniracers. He's basically run the table on that one, as far as I can tell. So
I watched one of his first. He's like, I got 480 or something like that, and I'm gonna try for 500 on the next one. I'm like, oh man,
it's amazing. It's really something else. This is a really talented guy when it comes to gaming. He's got another video out there on YouTube that I watched where how he rolls his fingers over an arcade stick. And I think if I remember right, he hits the buttons. I think he said it was 32 times a second with just using both hands, just rolling his
Jesus.
fingers. Yeah, I encourage everybody to go look that up on YouTube. That's it's really something. And if you could master that technique, you man, crazy. Just it looks like rubber fingers. Like it'll blow you away.
God.
So yeah,
That's
he
amazing.
wins. He wins the
I'm sure he
world
needs new
records.
controllers every other week.
I can imagine there's constant maintenance.
I'm curious. I'm just curious. What does his fingers look like? Do they look clean? Does he have fingers like sausages? Like, I'm curious.
I went ahead and sent you a direct. I sent you his rolling technique for 24 hertz tapping. That is quite insane.
Is that the one where he's using the fight stick?
No, this is on the NES controller.
On the NES controller, yeah, that's his little 2-finger claw technique, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm impressed if he can get great scores on track and field. Yeah, because that's not an easy game.
Track and field. He's
Which
also
track and
working
field?
on a side bike, right? The original NES.
Oh, the NES, so not the arcade. Yeah, I know a guy that smashes records on the arcade one, and you know how far the buttons are on that. He doesn't play it, mate. He plays original cab, and I don't know how these guys do it. I really don't. But I like those sorts of games. They're cool.
Yeah. That's insane. I was just actually going through Hector's stuff here. Some of them were pretty impressive.
Yeah, he does a lot of stuff on Twitch, so you guys can catch him there too. It's really just impressive. Like, I've never seen anybody play Excite Bike like that. Like, the way he plays it is just, it's something. It's really something. I don't think I'll ever manage that. My hopes and dreams of having a world record speedrun were smashed after watching that.
I don't worry about speed runs. I just worry about high scores. I mean, what's the rush? I mean,
Yeah.
like, I'm almost 50. I don't need to run anywhere. I don't have to be fast at something. Just, high score. I'd be happy with that.
Well,
I've kind of given up on all that kind of stuff anymore. I just want to play the games now.
Yeah.
Well, if high scores are your thing, then you might enjoy the next game that we're going to cover. So would you guys like to hear what that one's going to be? Yeah, yes you would. So next, the next game, we're going into space. We're going into space. This is going to be Gyrus on the NES.
Oh my God! I've
first.
got a story about Gyrus.
Ah,
On the NES? On the NES?
yeah. Well, there's of course there was the arcade version, but there is a port to the NES.
So I played the NES version too.
Hell yeah, a good tube shooter. A game always reminded me of Tempest. I just thought it should start wrapping things up.
Well, unfortunately, we'll have to save that story for next episode. I want to give a big thank you, Tim, for being our very first guest on our very first episode.
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure.
Also, please check out Tim's Twitter, Sega MS Tim, and make sure to give him a follow.
Thank you, Bearded One, for helping me out with this and put this show together. Not possible without you, man.
Anytime, man.
And I wanted to give a special thanks to Mega Retro Man, Fractured Fuser, and Hector Clyde Rodriguez. Thank you guys for playing along with us for the first episode. Really appreciate it. And I'll be sending something out to you guys here pretty soon. So just look for those messages on Twitter. Again, thank you everyone for listening and tuning in with us. And just remember, folks, that the light at the end of the tunnel may be you. Goodbye.
Sega.